morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, preliminary matters on the AM docket. Number 6, under violations, 459 Anglesey Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of 4.01A, sales to minors. That matter has been postponed, and the case will be rescheduled, and all interested parties will be notified as to the new date and time. First item on the AM docket, regular items. Number 1, Max Dalton and Justin Hanney Ultra Lounge LLC, trading as Mirage, 401 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license. A request to reopen after 90 consecutive days. Please come forward and raise your right hands.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the licensees.
Sir, would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Canesi, do you know whether Mr. Dalton has ever been represented by my firm?
I don't think so.
I don't.
No? Okay. No complaint about me sitting on the case?
No.
Okay. You may proceed.
This is a request. The problem they had about picking the license up was they ran into a tax situation with a trader's license. There was some small bill they had. They couldn't figure out what the bill was for, but they couldn't get a release. And they finally, the accountant got the release. It was like the 93rd day or 94th day, and the request is to reopen. They had reached out, and they have a letter, I don't know if it's in your file, from the Downtown Partnership.
Just received it.
In favor. What they're doing there more is special events and so forth, 4 or 5 times a month at the most. So they would request the ability to reopen because they have some things planned up in the future.
And when would it reopen?
They'll be open next week.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
I just had a little bit of, good morning, I'm Dana Moore. Just had a little bit of confusion because the documents we received said that the property was listed for lease during the time that you were not open and operating. Is the plan to get the license back and resume operations?
Yes.
And can you give us a little bit of detail about like what's going on structurally?
Structurally, we're trying to go towards a different route than what it was before, a more relaxed environment, like you say, special events, and cater to a better crowd. We were looking to lease it, but that hasn't been happening, so we're going to resume operations.
Okay. All right, and you might want to put your mic up and just speak a little bit. You can go ahead and use your church voice.
All right.
So, so you're gonna, if we approve this, you'll reopen next week. You'll be as you were.
Yes.
And then continue to try to reformulate your operations.
Yes.
Okay. And the building, do you all own the building or no?
It's a separate entity that owns the building.
Okay.
There's been a lot of interest, I think on an Lexington Street corridor with Club Buns and all the rest of them. The University of Maryland is trying to do some things, and so there have been various offers and things that are going back and forth. So there's that interest there.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Thank you.
No questions.
Okay. On the basis of the evidence that's been testified to this morning, the materials we have and proffers from counsel, I would vote to grant the request.
I concur.
I agree.
Good luck to you, sir.
Best of
Very
luck.
much.
Mr. Kudinski.
Okay.
I'd call the citizens for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support, Downtown Partnership, dated 8/28/2017. Thank you.
Ronald Soko and Sanjiv Surrey Jantan Inc., trading as M&J Discount Liquors, 5500 Park Heights Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on June the 7th of 2017. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the licensee.
Good morning. Would everyone who's going to testify please raise your right hand?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
It's going to be
Admission.
okay. Do you want to explain what happened on June 7th?
In this case here, and they've got several letters where they didn't serve anybody. In this case, Mr. Surrey was there. He was shorthanded, and he was just overwhelmed. He admits it. It was his fault. He should have been more careful. He's been a licensee there for a while. hadn't any problems with serving minors before, and he's going to try to get some more help in there to help him and make sure that they're all certified on it.
And how, he's had the license since 13,
Yeah, I think it was 12 or 13, I'm pretty sure.
and the only violation was a wholesale.
It was a question about having some product that wasn't from a wholesaler, and that was about in 2014, I think, but no minors.
Okay, and Inspector, were they cooperative?
Yes, Chairman, they were.
Okay, anything you want to add?
No, everything is in the report, just serve the minor.
Commissioners?
You mentioned that they had gotten letters in the past for being successful. Do you have those with you today?
He did, he just told me this morning they had them, and he didn't bring them, because he just got back in from vacation.
Who did?
He did.
You
Where were
did?
you? You went to-
Okay.
You were out of the country, weren't you? Tell me what country you went to.
Eritrea.
Everybody goes to India. All the Greeks go in August for the high holiday.
Okay, let's just stop right there, please. So can you just tell us when you got the letters saying you were successful? Just give us,
After I got the, liquor store, I bought it,
I mean, what year, do you recall?
2014 maybe.
2014. No, it had to be because you didn't get this until 2013. So was it just one letter or two?
It was one letter.
One letter, okay. All right, well, thank you.
Anything further? Okay, on the basis of the evidence presented, the admission of the violation on June 7, and testimony and proffers, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 7, 2017, and I would impose a fine of $500.
I concur, I agree.
I concur.
You have 30 days to pay.
Any exhibits?
Like close exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Inspector John Chrisomalis. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Martin. Board Exhibit 3, Photos. Thank you.
Wong Yong, Young's Place, Inc., trading as M&M Discount Liquors, 5142 Park Heights Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on June the 7th, 2017. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensee, Mr. Huan Young.
Good morning. Can I have everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the
Sorry,
testimony?
can you raise your right hand? Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Excuse me.
Okay. Admission or contest?
Is Mr. Sedgwick here? Is Cadet Sedgwick here? Yes. Okay. I'd be happy to make an admission if I could be provided with some evidence that he was under 21 at the time. Could someone proffer that?
Well,
We could just proffer by way of statement.
you want to proffer to that effect?
Well, I would need some proof of that to.
Okay. Let's have the cadet offer testimony.
I'm gonna need the sheriff's name as well. Is it Sheriff Poma?
Yes.
Massimiliano?
Yes.
Yeah. Sheriff,
Massimiliano Poma.
Sheriff,
Okay.
can you please state your name for the record? Yeah.
Sergeant Palmer with the Sheriff's Office, Baltimore City Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Okay. And cadet, your name?
Alexander Sedgwick.
Okay. And were you the individual on June 7th who entered this establishment and purchased a bottle of New Amsterdam peach vodka?
Yes, sir.
He hasn't
And-
been sworn.
Oh, can you raise your right hand? I'm sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sedgwick, you were the one on June 7th who purchased the vodka at this establishment.
Yes, sir.
And what, on June 7th, how old were you?
19.
And what is your date of birth?
September 29th, 1997.
Okay. Does that satisfy you, Mr. Priebus? You'll make an admission
We
then?
further admit the circumstances of the.
Okay,
purchase.
thank you. And do you want to explain what happened?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Young was not at the premises when this occurred. He had left the manager in place, and the manager had left, which had left an employee, and the employee just did not card the person. That employee has since been let go. Mr. Young got to the premises quite quickly thereafter. He does make sure that there's a policy of carding everyone that comes in the premises. And the employee got lazy, and he wasn't there to make sure that the employee didn't get lazy, and understands that that should not have happened. He has a prior hearing before this board last November for the BD7 Tavern portion not being open, which he received a $1,000 fine. More than 3 years ago, he had a $500 fine for a sale to a minor under similar circumstances where he had gone to the gym and left an employee who did not card. In light of this being a second purchase to a minor, even though it's more than 3 years, I'm not sure what the board's position in, but respectfully recommend a fine of $1,000.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. On the basis of the testimony, the admissions, and the information provided to the board this morning, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 7, 2017. I'd impose a fine of $1,500 and give him 30 days to pay it.
I agree with the finding of responsibility, and I agree with the imposition of the fine of $1,500.
I concur with my colleagues.
Thank you. 30 days to pay. Thank you very much.
Any exhibits?
Yes. I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Inspector John Chrisomalis. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Martin. Board Exhibit 3, Photos. Thank you.
Tahir Farouk, Farouk Ventures, Inc., trading as Broadway Liquors, 1645 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on June the 28th, 2017. Please come forward.
Are you Mr. Farouk, sir?
Yes, good morning,
Would you please raise your right hand as well as these gentlemen?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Farouk, would you like to contest this matter or admit that this occurred on June 28th?
Admit that, Chairman.
You admit it?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what happened.
I'm truly very sorry that it happened. I had left about 9 o'clock, and our manager, he made that mistake of selling. It was close to our closing time at around 9:50, and that heat of leaving business, he said he admitted that he did that, and I truly apologize. I tried my best. We had put new cash register who would check the IDs and everything. You couldn't sell it, but I don't know how the cashier or the manager, could do it.
You know, you had a prior violation
I
in
do.
2016
I
for the
promise
same
you
thing.
folks that it would never happen again, and I admit that.
Okay. Commissioners
wasn't-
have questions?
Well, so what I tell my kids,
Yes,
like
ma'am.
if you make a mistake once, all right, so it's a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you make the same mistake twice, it starts to
It's not a
become a
mistake.
pattern. No, it starts to become a pattern.
I understand.
And if it happens a third time, that's their practice. That's
Yes.
how they intend to operate and navigate in
I
the world.
understand that
So
fully.
you right now have a pattern. And I'd just like to hear what you're going to do to keep the promise that you just made, that this will never happen again. How will
Honestly,
you?
I tried my best, and being there, you cannot be present from open to close. My mistake was that I had left just 20 minutes prior to closing, and the gentleman who was there, he no longer, he passed away, I don't know, from whatever, young guy. He had a heart attack right after this happened, 3 days later. I don't know whether it was this pressure that we have to go through this or whatever reason.
I hope not.
Well,
I hope not.
May I?
Yes.
Please. So the board approved the transfer of ownership.
And it has
for this-
transferred.
One second.
Sorry.
The board approved the transfer of ownership for this location several months ago. However, we did not physically transfer, although they had met all requirements until this matter came before the board. So they are in fact ready to transfer to new owners.
Until
Okay.
today.
I appreciate it. Okay.
Okay, I
She's
appreciate,
no longer licensee.
I appreciate that. So you will not be the licensee
No, ma'am.
once that gets approved?
Yes, ma'am.
So you will keep your promise?
You will keep your promise, yeah.
Promise you.
So now we know how
I'm
you'll.
a law-abiding citizen. I don't know. I tried my best, but
I understand, Mr.
yes,
Farouk.
Chairman.
Anything further? Okay, on the basis of the evidence, and cooperative? Okay. On the basis of the information provided, the testimony presented this morning, and your admission, Mr. Farouk, to the violation, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 28, 2017. I'd impose a $1,000 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you, Chairman.
Well, you're not done yet. I mean, you got to hear from the other two commissioners. We might do something different.
Yes, ma'am.
But I agree with the finding of liability, and I agree with the imposition of a $1,000 fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
I do as well, and I can tell you're sincere.
Thank
and
you,
you're-
Commissioner.
And I know that.
Honestly, I
this is
tried my
hard.
best
I
to
know. We
put all
appreciate it.
that.
Well, good luck in your next endeavor.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Osler. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Tucker. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
Michael Hyatt and David Page, JRRG Corporation, trading as Wells Discount Liquors, 6310-10A York Road. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on June the 28th, 2017. Please come forward.
Would everyone raise their right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
What is your name, ma'am?
My name is Joanne Hyatt.
Ms. Hyatt, do you know if Mr. Page has ever been represented by Whiteford Taylor Preston?
I don't know.
Do you have any objection to me hearing this case?
No, none of it.
Okay. Do you wish to admit that this occurred or contest it?
No, it did occur, yes, sir.
Okay. So do you want to explain what happened?
Yes, I was not present at the time. It happened after I left. And it's exactly what the letter states that happened. A cadet came in, or whatever his title is, and she sold him a bottle of liquor and did not ask for ID. You know, I'm guilty as charged.
Okay. Well, we
She's
appreciate
guilty.
your candor.
She's been reprimanded. She still works for me. She's a great cashier. I need her. She's good. She's dependable. She just didn't do her job, and
Board doesn't recommend terminating employees when they make mistakes, just counseling them and
yeah.
straightening them out.
trust me, they all have heard from me.
Okay. Cooperative?
Very cooperative. In the past, I think that the last violation dates back to 2006. I'm sorry, dates back to 2006.
That's correct.
And for training purposes, sometimes would need fake IDs for training purposes, and these guys always had more fake IDs that they confiscated than any place else. So.
Well, I know you do a very high volume of business because I lived in the neighborhood for many years.
I do have lots of managers on duty and all, but we're so busy with, you know, the cashier just didn't do her job, basically, and it has been a long time, and, you know,
Okay. Commissioners?
stuff happens, I guess.
No questions.
Okay. On the basis of the testimony, the materials we have, your admission, ma'am, of the violation, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 28, 2017. Given your, you've had one prior, but it was in 2006, which was over 10 years ago, and you've been cooperative with the board. So I would impose a $750 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
So I agree with the finding of the responsibility and of the fine, and I just have to say I appreciate that your employee is still employed, and I'm of the belief that probably the best employee when it comes to these kinds of issues is the one that has made the mistake and learned from it.
Yeah.
So just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank
I
you.
concur as well and would add, thank you for your sincerity and honesty. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
30 days to pay?
Yes.
Let's see you down here, ma'am. I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Fosler. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Tucker. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
Mahmoud Kanaya, Momo Inc., trading as Liquor Stop, 6400 Auburn Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on June the 27th of 2017. Please come forward.
Mr. Hurdle?
Abraham Hurl, on behalf of Momo Inc., and with me is the licensee, trading as a Liquor Stop.
Good morning.
Albert Avenue.
Can I ask your client and our inspector to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Will this be an admission or a contest?
I'd like to have them just come up and testify to the facts, that's all.
Okay. Inspector?
On June 27, 2017, at approximately 9:30 p.m., Inspectors Clark Caracolis on duty, working with the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office during the Underage Task Force, detailed visited the location at 6400 Holabird Avenue in the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland, known as Liquor Stop. After arriving at the location, inspectors and sheriffs parked across the street from the bar.
Excuse me, my apologies. I wasn't asking for him to read the
Oh,
statement sheet.
okay.
I was looking to have the fact witnesses testify. I'm sorry.
Okay. Is the cadet here?
Well, who do you want to call? I mean, who do you
I
want
would
to
like the
testify?
cadet to testify. If he's not here, that would make a motion to dismiss because there would be nobody who could testify to what happened.
I'm Sergeant Paul. I'm sorry, I was conferencing with one of my deputies.
It's all right.
Yeah,
Wait,
I just want to know if the cadet is here, okay?
please, thank you.
yeah, the cadet is here.
He is here. Can we have the cadet come forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's always, it's always helpful when you say what you want.
No, and I
Typically,
apologize
you
for
will
being
get,
unclear.
typically you'll get what you want if you ask for it. But if you don't ask for it, you leave us trying to figure out what do you want. So it's wasting our time.
One at a time.
Okay. We need to swear Cadet Hartsfield.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Cadet, did you, with an inspector, arrive at the Liquor Stop on Holabird Avenue on June 27?
Yes.
And did you enter the establishment?
Yes.
And did you purchase a bottle of New Amsterdam Peach Vodka?
Yes.
Were you carded?
No.
And how old were you at that time?
19.
Okay. Do you have questions for her?
No, at this
Okay.
time, you would admit.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anything further?
Yes, I have some facts of mitigation.
Certainly.
The last violation that occurred at this location was roughly a decade ago. Further, there was a pending transfer that comes up before the board in 3 weeks. So while I can't say it won't happen again, if it does, it would have to happen in the next 3 weeks. The employee who was there at the time, my understanding is they're not there anymore. I wish it was a situation where we do some retraining or thing like that, but there's going to be a new owner in 3 weeks. I think they got all the different things put together. Theoretically, it would be the new owner who would be for the board if there was a problem.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
So the notes that I have state that the license transferred to Mahmoud Shana, September 4, 2015. Is that correct? Yes, no?
I think so.
I apologize.
Yes.
What is, are you Mr. Shana?
Yes.
So when did you take ownership of this license?
Like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay, so
There
that,
have been no violations of this license either.
That's correct.
correct.
Apologies. I was just reading the form, which in some instances seems to only apply to that licensee and some.
So in the 2 years you've had this, this is your first violation? Okay, thank you.
And the last.
Well, we have a pattern here.
No, we close.
You get a
if I-
violation, you get a violation, you sell.
And the last.
Okay. Anything further? Hearing nothing, on the basis of the testimony we've received, the materials that we have in our file, and the admission, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 27, 2017, and impose a $500 fine and give him 30 days to pay it.
Thank you. Maybe excused.
Well, commissioners, other commissioners have to agree.
I was actually thinking of a much higher, much higher, much higher. Because you're so anxious to get out of here. I will agree with the finding of responsibility, and.
Can I ask you to reduce the fine to 100? You told me if I ask.
You can ask.
Can I ask you to just define?
I was actually thinking of $1,000 because it seems appropriate, but I will go with what the chairman has recommended of $500. I'm sure you do.
No, I won't do $100, and no, I won't do 2,000 Turkish dollars either. I concur with my colleagues, and for purposes of transfer, check the corporate status. I'm not sure it's in good standing, so when that comes back up, you may want to revisit that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hurdle. I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector Gerald Clark. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Tucker. Board Exhibit 3, photos.
George Mooney and Delbach Singh, 6701 Hollenberg, Inc., trading as Hollenberg Bar and Liquor, 6701-05 Hollenberg Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on June the 27th, 2017. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing the licensing.
Good morning, counsel. Would your client and the inspector raise your right hands, please?
How do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
This would be an admission.
Okay. What happened?
Basically, there was an employee who had not been there very long and did the service. That employee is no longer with them, not necessarily just for this reason, but for other reasons. I've talked with the licensees there, making sure they check everybody that comes in, double their efforts on to make sure that there's nobody there that is underage, and otherwise they've been vigilant with regard to the situation.
Okay, so it's the first violation in 3 years, is that correct?
That's correct, as far as I know.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Yes,
I have
the
no questions.
Hollenberg Bar and Liquor.
Looking at the wrong one.
Okay.
No questions.
On the basis of the evidence contained in the record, the admission and proffers of counsel, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 27, 2017. I would impose a $500 fine and give the gentleman 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
Okay, and I agree with the findings
I concur.
and the fine.
I concur.
Good luck to you, sir.
30 days to pay.
Yes.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector Clark. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Tucker. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
Yeah.
Min Young Jun and Young Mong Park, B&G Liquor, Inc., trading as B&G Separate, 1538 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on June the 21st, 2017. Please come forward.
Gentlemen, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And what is your name, sir?
Park.
You're Mr. Park, okay. Do you want to admit that this occurred on June 21 or deny it? You admit it? Okay. Will you tell us what happened?
At the time, I was so busy, so I didn't pay too much attention.
You were the person who served the cadet? Okay. And you have had this license since 2012?
Yes, sir.
You have a prior violation 3 years ago for a sale to a minor and a gambling violation the year before that. Is that correct? Okay. Was he cooperative with you when
Yes, he
you
was.
approached him? Okay. Have you had any problems with his establishment other than these violations? No. Okay. Commissioners?
So you've admitted the violation. Can you just talk to us for a little bit about how you're going to avoid the violation in the future?
I will pay more and more attention, and also I will ask ID to my customer who seems to me younger than 40 years. So I will increase my standard of it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I will take responsibility.
Okay, thank you.
Anything? Okay. Anything that the inspectors want to add? No. Okay. On the basis of the evidence contained in the record, the testimony received this morning, the admission by the licensee, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 21, 2017. In light of the record, I would impose a $1,200 fine and give him 30 days.
I agree with the finding of responsibility and the imposition of the $1,200 fine.
And I concur as well.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report. Inspector Perez. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report. Deputy Young. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
Thomas Young Kim, Good Times LLC, trading as Good Times Liquor and Bar Lounge, 1600 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on June the 21st, 2017. Please come forward.
Would you gentlemen raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And what is your name, sir?
Thomas Kim.
And you're the licensee, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you wish to admit or deny this violation?
I'm sorry.
Do you wish to admit this violation or deny that it happened?
Yeah, I was a mistake. There, I had some family problem at that time. That was happening. But I was a mistake.
You had what kind of problem?
I was a family problem.
Oh,
at that
family
time.
problem. So
So
you
I
were
didn't pay
distracted, is
attention.
what you were saying?
I'm sorry.
You were distracted by other matters, is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry. I don't understand.
Okay. Okay. But you weren't paying attention.
It didn't pay attention. Actually, that time the young girl and little old man came. So when I look at it, she ordered the bottle. And when I look at her, she's young. But the little older man paid the money. And when I bring the bottle, look at it, young girl, I don't want to give it to her. When I look at it, the man looks old. So man paid the money. And
One of these guys? They don't look that old to me.
Another. The young girl and the little older man. I thought they doing
Sorry, guys.
something, well, like I don't want to say like that, like escort service like that. So this guy is a little older. Okay, he paid the money and he grabbed the bottle so that I gave it to him. But actually, next time the young girl asked the bottle, so I didn't pay attention. That's why I made a mistake.
Okay. So it occurred. Yes. All right. And you have had this license since 2010. You had a prior sale to a minor in 2015.
2000, yeah,
And then
2009.
violations back in 2011.
Yeah, about 2 years ago that I got the mistake too. This is the second time.
Okay.
2 years ago, I got, I think about $2,000 that I paid it first time. But I paid about 4 months for that.
Well, Commissioner Moore is going to ask you what you're going to do differently now.
I was so mistake that I have to pay attention more.
Okay. Are you the person who is on duty almost all the time?
Yes, I'm working 7 days.
I hear you. Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No question, but I just think it should be very clear that the Liquor Board does not sponsor any escort service,
I understand that.
period.
So I was a mistake.
That was a
sorry.
big mistake, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so apologize about this. I don't want it to happen next time again. But always something happening. The other ones happen, the other ones are happening. Business is slow.
Understood.
That's happening, sir.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. If I heard you correctly, you had said that an older gentleman paid for the liquor, even though the younger...
Pay the money and grab the bottle.
Okay. Sergeant, are you sworn in?
They
Or,
was a...
Sheriff?
It's a window side like that. So
That didn't
she was this side, or the man this side. So when I look at him, little older, so I gave it. But it's but I didn't ask her, the young girl asked me
I
the
understand.
bottle.
Thank you.
So I served.
Sheriff Palma, are you sworn in?
I'm not.
He was sworn earlier. but I'll
Sworn
give
in
it-
Oh, it's up to you.
Is that your understanding, that the cadet came in and an older gentleman from your office paid for this?
No, so they were together, the two cadets.
But who paid for it? Who handed over the cash?
Pardon?
Who handed over the cash?
That Cadet Hartsfield did the payment,
Okay.
and Cadet Sedgwick was with her.
So there was not anyone over the age of 21 there handing this licensee money?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you. No questions.
Anything further? Okay, anything from the inspectors? No. All right. On this, because of the record here, I'm going to impose, well, first let me find, based on the record we have, the testimony we've received in your admission, sir, I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 21, 2017. I'm going to impose a $1,500 fine and give you 30 days.
So I agree with the finding of responsibility, but back on May 28, 2015, you came before the board and for the exact same violation, and you were found responsible. Did you own the license then, May 28, 2015?
He's had it since 2010.
Okay, never mind. So the last time you were here for the exact same violation.
2 years ago.
Yeah, you were, we imposed a fine of $2,000. So today, we're imposing a fine of $1,500. And I'm going to agree with it, but I just want you to know you're getting off lucky because we're going backwards while you're still going forward with the violations. So if you come back a third time, it becomes obviously, this is how you operate. So I hope that you will not come back.
I wish I could.
Well, let me just say, it's not going to be a warm and fuzzy place to be if you come back. That's all I can say.
And I
So-
concur with the finding and the imposition, and I would also echo Commissioner Moore's point and would encourage Inspector Hahn to fill the licensee in on, make sure he fully understands, should he ever unfortunately have to come back for a violation.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. It was 15, that was 1,500? Okay. We got to start making sure that they know the administrative fee.
Inspector Hong in the back.
I keep
You see
forgetting.
Inspector Hong in the back. He's waiting for you. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Inspector Andy Perez. Board Exhibit 2, Report, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Young. Board Exhibit 3, Photos.
Joginder Samra and Joginder Singh, 2300 West Baltimore Street, LLC, trading as Club 2300, 2300 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on June the 21st, 2017. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the licensing.
Good morning. Can I ask you gentlemen to raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So it'd be an admission.
Okay. And is there an explanation?
The only explanation they had is that they haven't had problems with minors. They've had some other problems that had to do with operating the tavern and some sanitation issues from years ago, is right. Apparently from talking with the licensee, the area was involved in some problems where there's some shootings. Everybody had the heebie-jeebies at the time. There's an employee that should have known better, and they didn't. He since counseled them and said, listen, no matter what the situation is, you've got to check. Don't, because if you have any doubt, just don't serve them. But-
This was one day after they had been before the board on the tavern issue.
Right, but that's been resolved, and they're, operating as a full tavern, and then somebody came in and, the employee in Baxton got a little nervous, and he wasn't there, so he knows better now this time.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have a question. I have a concern as to what's happening here at this location. I don't think in all the time I've been on the board that I've seen really bookend violations so close together. So I just wonder what's happening with your operations and what you're going to do to not come back here on our violations docket.
Okay. Is this Mr. Sommer or Mr. Singh?
Singh.
Okay.
Commissioner Greenfield, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Do the inspectors have any testimony? No. Okay, on the basis of the information contained in our materials, the testimony we've received, the proffer from counsel, and the admission, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 21, 2017. And I would impose a fine. Right on, you were fined $1,350 the day before this, and then I'd impose a $1,500 fine and give you 30 days.
I agree.
I concur.
You gotta get your act together, sir. It's costing you a lot of money.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Inspector Perez. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Young. Board Exhibit 3, Photos.
Annie Butler, trading as Club Climax, 2432 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A. Sales to minors on June the 21st, 2017. Please come forward.
Mr. Hurdle, identify yourself for the record, please.
Ibrahim Hurdle on behalf of Annie Butler Sole Proprietorship, trading as Club Climax, located at 2432 West Baltimore Street.
Thank you. Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Does Ms. Butler wish to admit or deny the violation?
We admit it.
We admit, sorry. We admit, but we certainly have some testimony that we'll be presenting in mitigation.
That's fine. Please go ahead.
Ms. Butler, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe has been a licensee for, is it
Over 47 years.
47 years?
Yes.
And
1970.
Yes.
I was in law school.
Okay. Actually, in 1969, I had a partnership. Didn't work out, so in 1970, I became a sole proprietor.
Good move.
Oh, don't be responsible.
And Ms. Butler, in that time, you've had a violation. It was over 10 years ago, correct?
Yes, I had one violation, the same type. My manager of 40 years, 6 months, and 1 day served a minor. Unfortunately, he passed this year, died this year, and on February 13th. I'd like to add a few more things. 2017 has been the worst year of my business life and my personal life. I had 2 brothers left. My oldest brother died January 13th. On January 31st. On February 13th, my manager, had been with me 40 years, 6 months, 1 day, had a stroke, died a few weeks later. Shortly thereafter, a car ran into my building and took out a 3-foot wall, came through a red light, my corner building. And on June 16th, my last brother, Vietnam veteran, had a seizure and died. Okay, that was on June 16th. I would like to add, it's a family-run business. This is my granddaughter who served the minor. This is my daughter who's been working in the bar since, they've all been there since little kids, not serving, of course. And she was on duty. Shantae served. Shantae was very upset. My brother, who had just passed 5 days, had died 5 days prior to that, was her godfather. And she was really upset. We admit, yes, she made a grave mistake, big mistake. She served a minor. She's had training, proper training, alcohol awareness training and all, and we're there all the time, one of us, my daughter or me. She hadn't worked the packages very long because when Adrian died, Adrian is the employee that was there 40 years. She has just been trained in the front area by her mom, my daughter. So if I'm asking that you please have leniency on us, I guess I've said enough.
I actually have a couple more questions for you, Ms. Butler.
Yes.
Your establishment has been robbed in the past, is that correct?
Oh, gosh, yes.
On several occasions,
yes,
correct?
several occasions.
And in this situation, not to say that it makes it by any means acceptable, but it was unusual in the fact that the person who approached the window to make the purchase was wearing a hooded sweatshirt that was pulled down close. Is that correct?
Yes, it
Do you-
is.
And I'll ask, I guess, your granddaughter.
Yeah, yes.
Have you,
I'm sorry,
have you been sworn in?
Yes, they all were.
And that's Shantae Butler? C-A-K-A-N-E, okay.
And Ms. Kane, you were working that night when this occurred, correct?
Yes.
And the young individual there, they had a hoodie pulled close? And to a degree, you wanted, given the previous robberies, you know, again, not to
You gonna
skirt the
testify,
rules.
Mr. Hurdle, or is she?
I'm just trying to guide her
Because
as
this is
much
a
as possible.
long leading question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an administrative hearing. The person was wearing a hoodie, though, correct?
Yes.
And to a degree, you weren't sure if it was a robbery, is that correct?
It was a little weird, but I'll be 26 in 2 weeks. He honestly did look a little older than me, and I was told 27. So, no, I didn't call him, and that's my mistake. So,
Can't always guess correctly. Anything further?
We would ask that the fine be mitigated in return, as a result of Ms. Butler's, 40-plus years of, with the exception of a single time in the past, of proper operations. They're going through the process of trying to get things worked out for the next kind of few years as well. And again, given the time frame with the recent passing of a family member, this likely will not happen again. I think if the 46-plus years have been shown anything, that this is a properly run establishment, and there's been a lot of changeover and unfortunately heartache in the last few years of the establishment, so it shouldn't happen again.
Understood. Commissioners have questions?
I had a question. Ms. Kane, you said you're getting ready to be 26. Is that
Yes.
right? All right, so my one question was how old you are, because you look very young.
yes, I'm 26 in September, so I'll be 26 September.
Okay, when is your
16th.
birthday?
September 16th.
September
91.
6th, so next week. Right, okay. All right, that was my one question. Thank you.
Commissioner Greenfield?
I have no questions.
Okay. On the basis of the materials that we have, the testimony we've received, the admission from Ms. Butler and counsel and the proffers, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 21, 2017. Ms. Butler, I offer our condolences for all the losses that you've suffered this year. I think we have to recognize that you've had a very long record. The last violation was over 10 years ago. We have to impose some sanction in this case, but I will be lenient. I would make it a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Okay. So I concur with the finding, and I do just recognize not just the 40 years of being in business, but also the other hardship. And obviously, this is a family-run business, and that's sort of the backbone of Baltimore. And I just really just add my condolences to all of the losses, personal and business. And we've been on a roll, and I've been going along with the chair. And I feel, given all of the circumstances, I would reduce the fine to $250. But we'll see what the other commissioner says.
Well, I find the violation. I also really appreciate your sincerity and condolences as well. I know running a business is hard, and but I'm going to strike a balance and do 375 just to try and be fair, and hopefully at least one of the colleagues will agree.
If I may ask before a final decision is made, could we have the timeline extended to 60 days on whatever the result is, if that's possible?
I don't know, is that?
I don't think we
Are we
can.
permitted to do that? We can't do that. 30 is the maximum, okay. I'll join Commissioner Moore at 250, and we'll give her 30 days to pay it,
Do
okay?
you want to come into the light?
I do.
Okay.
So it's
Thank you very much.
Three of us are imposing a $250 fine. There is a $125 administrative fee, which you would be imposed no matter what. So
Good luck to you, ma'am.
best of luck.
And to the other young ladies.
Best of luck.
Next call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Darrell Clark, Inspector Darrell Clark. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Young. Board Exhibit 3, Photos.
You're such a mediator. You really are.
Doesn't always help.
Last one.
Sun, Young, Park, and Juanita Sowell.
Trusting.
I'll say.
Trading as Liquors, 1231-33 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of 4.01A, sales to minors, on June the 21st, 2017. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Jay Yu, representing the licensee, Mrs. Park.
Good morning. Would Ms. Park and the inspectors raise their right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Will it be an admission or a denial? Admission? Okay. Do you or Ms. Park want to tell us what occurred on June 21?
Yes, Ron. Basically, Ms. Park runs this operation with an employee. It's a two-person operation, but her husband, Mr. Yoon, who is here present, very apologetic. He occasionally helps out the wife, comes in on Friday afternoons or on weekends, sometimes in the evenings to help out the wife. And Mrs. Park, obviously, it's a free labor, and what she should have done was nonetheless train him accordingly, but she never did that. So obviously, Mr. Yoon, he has been helping, and he knows what he's doing, but nonetheless, when I asked him what happened, he said, I was just absent-minded. It was busy, and I was just going with the flow. And so what Mrs. Park did was actually sent him to a alcohol awareness course and make him sit there for 2.5 hours and get actually fully trained. And we got the certificate. She brought the certificate, but this is the original. So, and also,
I bet he got a few words from her, too.
So when she did that, she also sent her employee as well, because she has one employee and he never really got the proper training done. So she took this opportunity to have everybody at the store trained so that everybody knows what to do and make sure they're not absent-minded and they don't go with the flow. If I may present
That's
this.
commendable. Thank you. We'll receive those. Anything further?
No, thank you.
Inspectors, anything? Commissioners, any questions?
My own husband might be watching, and we often talk about training. And he never really listens to me, so we end up having to bring in other people. So it's sort of a lesson in life. When you're working with your spouse, sometimes it's better to bring in a third person to do the education and training. So I'm glad that you did do that. And your husband hasn't felt like he needed to come forward and face the camera and face the lights. But we appreciate the admission and then the follow-up and the training and learning how to do things the right way so that you stay out of trouble, certainly with the liquor board and obviously with your wife going forward.
Okay. On the basis of the testimony received, the materials contained in our folder, the admission and the proffers from counsel, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 21, 2017. This is the first violation for Ms. Park, and I would impose a $500 fine and give her 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector Darrell Clark. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Young. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Licensee Exhibit 1, 3 alcohol awareness certifications. Thank you.
I believe, Mr. Page, that's the morning docket?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
So we'll recess till 1?
Recess until 1 p.m.
Super. This never happens.
Preliminary matter once you call the docket.
Yes. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners afternoon 1 p.m. docket. If you have an electronic device, I'd ask that you please silence it now or put it on vibrate. When your case is called, please step forward, state your name into the microphone, and if you're going to be providing testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in. Mr. Chair, there are 2 preliminary matters. May I address them?
Please.
The first is a postponement of case number 4, Harnum Arnasia and Gurmohan Arnasia and Ronald Sander, Harjas Corporation, trading as Hamilton Liquors, 541820 Harford Road. This matter has been postponed and will be reset for a future date. The second matter is Nidia Sierra, Bernia Incorporated, trading as Honey's Lounge, located at 1722 through 24 Goff Street. That matter has been postponed and will be rescheduled at a future date. Mr. Chair, I'll defer to you. I think there's another preliminary matter.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Baltimore City Liquor Board is pleased and proud to announce we have a new member of our team, and the child's name is Delaney and belongs to our court reporter, Bryson, and we have a little remembrance for her. Delaney is now, what, a month old? 6 weeks. And Bryson is a new dad, so you'll note that he hasn't had any sleep in quite some time.
Yet he's still way more patient than he was.
And that is for the record.
So, thank you. Shall we proceed?
Yes. Calling the first case, and we'll be calling case number 13 first, Your Honor. Anthony Gambino Jr., Deke Incorporated, trading as Ciao Bella Restaurant, 232 through 36 South High Street. It's a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization.
Mr. Gambino and Inspector, will you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So, your name for the record?
Anthony Gambino.
Okay, Mr. Gambino, you're charged with a violation of Rule 4.14A on June 8, 2017. Do you wish to admit or deny the violation?
I admit.
Pardon?
Obviously, I made a violation, so.
So you
yes.
admit it?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us.
Not knowing what I did, but.
Well, apparently the inspector observed someone playing a keyboard and singing into a microphone,
Yes.
and you didn't have the authorization on your license for it. So,
Reason why I had the entertainment was because I'm doing fundraising. I have a condition, and I just want to, you have to have some type of entertainment. So what I did was just hired this one person, and he sang and I think he performed for a couple hours. It wasn't a big turnout of guests. That was my intention, and I made a contribution and will continue to make contributions.
so it was a one-time event, or
Yes,
this is not a regular thing?
Correct.
Inspector, do you know anything further about this?
You need to come up and.
Yeah, if you could just state your name, please.
Joanne Martin, Baltimore City Liquor Board. No, I don't. Matter of fact, it came through with the 311 complaint that evening as an anonymous complaint. When I went out at 10 o'clock at night, I observed.
And
the
did you
dog
speak to
playing.
Mr. Gambino after that?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. So this is the first you learned that it was some effort to raise funds in a one-time event?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had any other problems with the establishment?
No, we haven't.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay. So you've had this license since 1992. This is your first violation? Okay. And I'm going to take you at your word that this is not an ongoing thing, that it was a one-time thing. You realize if you're going to have this, you're going to have to seek that addition to your license in order to have live entertainment?
I do now, yes.
Okay. Which is not saying you can't do it. You just need to go through the technicalities of it. So I would find, on the basis of your testimony and admission and the materials in the record, a violation of Rule 4.14A on June 8, 2017, and I'd impose a $200 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Okay, thank you.
So the other commissioners have to rule as well.
We're a lot meaner than him. I agree with the finding of responsibility and the amount of the fine.
I concur as well.
Okay, so just, if you're going to do it again, make sure you get your license for it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And definitely, call the liquor board. If you have any ideas, just call the liquor board in advance, because they will give you good advice on how to do what you want to do.
Okay.
Am I free to go?
You are.
Almost.
Any exhibits on that one?
Thank you.
Like to call
Thank
exhibits
you.
for the record. Board Exhibit
Good luck
1,
with the baby, man.
inspection report, Inspector Joanne Martin. Board Exhibit 2, liquor license. Board Exhibit 3, 311 complaint. Thank you.
Mr. Akris.
Returning to regular order, according the first violation of the afternoon, Anna Ruta and Sheecham Ruta, 3407 Hamilton Avenue, LLC, trading as Hamilton Quick Mark, 3407 Hamilton Avenue. It's a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Counsel.
Abraham Hurd on behalf of 3407 Hamilton Avenue LLC, trading as the Hamilton Quick Mart.
Good afternoon. Can I ask the licensees and the inspectors to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
An admission or denial?
We admit we don't even need the facts read, if that's, I guess, possible.
We'll take notice of the facts.
And we would then offer mitigation that there have been no violations at this establishment to our knowledge, I believe, and that previously there was a transfer application granted, and it is pending for a variety of reasons, including this hearing. So, again, likely this will not happen again with these current owners, if at all.
Okay, and they've had the license for 3 years, and this is their first violation. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay. Inspectors, anything? Okay. On the basis then of the evidence contained in the record, the proffers from counsel, the admission, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 22, 2017. I'd impose a $500 fine and give the licensees 30 days to pay it.
I agree.
I concur.
Thank you. Would be excused?
Yes.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Fossler. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Thomas. Exhibit 3, photos.
Thank you.
Okay. Calling the next case, Chum Devi Chantal, Chum D LLC, trading as Everest Liquors, 4924 Harford Road. It's a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Melvin J. Kadensky for the licensees.
Good afternoon. Would everyone raise right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Kanansky, we have an admission or a contest?
Be an admission.
Okay. Do your clients wish to explain?
Well, in this particular case here, the clients were actually out of the country. They were in Nepal. Seems like sometimes summertime is a nice place for people to go. And in the meantime, they were in the process of getting someone, and the place is going to be sold shortly. There's a contract to sale, and a new licensee is going to be put on the license. We're going to put the application in. And in the meantime, they've not had any prior problems. And
Not for a long time. It's been 9 years or something
9 years,
since they
yes, so-
were before the board. Anything else?
And that would be, I think it was an isolated instance, and if it happens once every 9 years, it's once too much, but it won't happen again since they have another purchaser.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No.
I guess I just have maybe a comment. It may be just some confusion. On the investigation report, it does make mention that the operators, it may not be your client specifically, it says it purchased the business from the current licensee. And this sort of creates kind of a domino set of questions I think we have with respect to whether, a transfer can't occur until it comes before the board and we approve it.
Right.
So I assume your client understands that that's not currently the case, that they still own it?
Yeah,
They're not the,
they still own it. The other people were in there helping them while they were gone, and one gentleman's son, Jacob, was the one who was there, the younger, when they did it. And then when they came back, now they understand, since this is not, that issue will be resolved today, they'll put the application
so
in.
it was just a misunderstanding on the,
Correct.
thank you.
Anything further? Inspectors? Anything?
I guess this is, I think, the fourth or the fifth case today where there's been a transfer has already occurred or it's pending, and then a violation occurs. And I just, something's happening that people think that once they put in their application or they've made the decision to sell, that they're no longer responsible. And I just a, you know, a word to the wise that you own it till you don't. And till you don't, you are responsible for all of the operations, and you got to give extra care that there not be violations, because if you want to sell and there's a violation, you can't sell until it's resolved by the board. So maybe just advise all of you, advise your clients to take extra care during that interim phase when you're trying to sell a license. Yes?
Yes.
I'm seeing lots of nods behind you, so thank you for hearing that.
Anything further, Mr. Knansky?
Nothing further.
All right. On the basis of the evidence contained in the record, the testimony that the board has received and the proffers from counsel, as well as the admission, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 22, 2017. You have prior sales to minors. They were bunched together in 2008, and nothing in the superseding 9 years. So taking that into consideration, I would impose a fine of $750 and give you 30 days to pay it.
I concur.
I agree.
Okay, good luck, folks.
And there's an administrative fee of $125.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Chief Inspector Mark Fosler. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Thomas. Board Exhibit 3, Photos.
Calling next case, Anyad Yadava, Shakti Incorporated, trading as New Chimnos Liquors, 5917 York Road. It's a Class A beer wine liquor license. Violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Would everyone come forward and raise their right hand, please, who's going to testify in this matter?
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Gentlemen, would you step up to the microphone and tell us your names, please?
My name is Anand K. Yadava.
You are the licensee.
I'm the licensee.
And this gentleman?
Charles Bell Jr.
And do you work for him? Okay. Mr. Yadava, you're charged with this sale to a minor on June 22. Do you wish to admit or deny that that happened?
This happened by, I admit it happened by the employee who work up there.
Okay. And how many employees do you have?
One.
Is that person still employed by you?
Yes.
Okay. And have you spoken to that person about this problem?
Yes, I did.
Because you have two priors for sales to minors in 2011, 2012, and a gambling violation in 11, and a sale to minor back in 2010. So while it isn't all that recent, there's a history of this problem.
When in 2000, all those you see, those violation happened in 2010 when I bought the liquor license on that time, 2010. And the gambling thing, that thing I did remove right away when we had the machine. We never have after that. And the last violation I have a 4-year back, and this time 2017. And when I was at the store, I was loading and helping him in the back, and he was up front. And accidents happened with him, but by mistake, he sold it to the minor. And that's it. The guy who worked for me is a very honest and good person working in front. I do not know how he slipped, but I gave him more training to do that. And I would like to say for me, for my business, that I did my best for everything. And the liquor board also sent me that when they came in the middle to do that, they said, okay, you're doing a good job on those.
So you offered me a letter from 2013 talking about compliance checks by, and Mr. Page has sent you a letter about compliance. Is that correct?
Yes, it's just we are trying our best to not to sell any minors. And you could see there's like a tobacco license people. I mean, I'm selling the tobaccos too, like a cigarette. So they did check on us. It means we are checking the best our knowledge for the license. I mean, make sure not to sell any underage. So the guy who worked for me, I don't know how he slipped. He really feels sorry and all those. And I'm giving him more training, make sure he don't get slipped. And That's all I do my best for him.
Do you want us to keep these, or do you want to keep these?
This is my, for my record, if I want, I could give, you could take a copy of it yourself.
I don't, we don't really need it. You may have it. We'll take notice of both the letter and the Health Department certification congratulating you on the tobacco sales. Commissioners have questions?
So just by count, I think this is the fourth sale to minor violation that you've had since you've owned the business.
Yes.
And then we add on top of that the gambling violation.
The gambling violation happened when I bought the liquor store. I did not know how that work was going on that time, but this last violation happened after 4 years. And we did our best, make sure not to do it. And the guy who worked for me, he slipped by mistake and he did it.
How old is the person that?
He's a 55-year-old guy worked for me.
Okay.
And he's certified and he got the training for not to sell any minors.
So he's had the training?
Yes, and I gave him more classes. I said he got to go, if he need more understanding thing or something happened, so he back again in a class for that too.
So is he resistant to asking for ID?
He does ask ID everybody, but the way the person who came to the front on the register looked like a so older and familiar, the way he talked, like, hi, how you doing, and all those, and he just got slipped. And right after a few minutes, liquor board walked in and stepped in and selling.
Sure.
So
At what age has your employee been told to start carding people? Like if they look like they're older or younger than 30 or 40, 50,
I did it like 30. Make sure we look anybody, because you know how the peoples are. I said, look, his name is Obed Balmy. I said, Obed, look, if somebody you see below 30, just keep eye on it. Yeah. And he did his best on everything, but I don't know how he slipped on that day.
Right. We had some testimony earlier today where a person said that they changed their practice so that anyone who looked like they were 40 or younger was asked for an ID. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I found that
that's better.
It seemed like that would be a better protection against the violation.
I will do my best because this is our bread and butter, and that's why we are living on it. So we do more conscious and more better on that, not to sell.
You have more violations on your record than anybody that we've seen today. So just be aware.
I will do my best.
Okay.
And I'm really apologize and sorry, and that happened. And I'll try my best not to happen again.
Commissioner?
I would just underscore what Commissioner Moore said. You have a pretty, you have a record that's not pleasant, specifically with respect to sales to minors. And I would encourage you as much as possible, regardless of whatever happens here, to make sure that you're carding almost everyone, if not everyone, because it's not a good record.
I'm so sorry,
No,
and
I
I will
understand.
do my best. And we try not to sell anybody like that who look under 31. We ask ID and everything, do my best. And 4 year, if you look, we did our best we could do. And even in the middle of that 4 year, the liquor board came and they check on us. We did caught, they did their side, and now we did our side too. And I don't know how he slipped on that. He's really feeling sorry and really hurt him too.
Sure.
But he worked for me.
Mr. Fossil, did you want to add something?
Mark Foster, Chief Inspector. No, sir, Chairman, nothing to add.
Okay.
The other thing that I just wanted to say to you, for your location, you are sort of in between Towson University and Loyola. And so you are a natural place for college students. And we have seen over the years that licensees get a reputation for being willing to serve underage. And you don't want to be that person.
Trust me, I don't want to be part of
don't.
it. Honestly, that's really hurting me too, what's happening. We don't want to do that because we have to be on the safe side too. I'm really apologize for anything.
I understand. Okay. Thank you.
If there's nothing further, we're prepared to rule on the basis of the materials we have contained in our package, the testimony from the licensee, his admission of the violation. I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 22, 2017. Mr. Yadava, you have a bad history of this, but the most recent one was 5 years ago. So you went 5 years without doing it. So obviously, it's not a pattern that goes on every day in your establishment. But and you got some hefty fines before. I'm not necessarily certain I would have concurred on. I'm going to impose a fine of $1,500 and give you 30 days to pay it.
I agree.
Is we're gonna request something if you don't.
One more, Commissioner.
I concur. And as we've said previously on these dockets, please don't come back on a violation because I'm not sure it's going to be very pleasant. So
I would do my best.
Okay, good luck, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Fosler. Sheriff's Department report, Exhibit number 2, Deputy Thomas. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
Calling the next case, David Carr and Lisa Carr, C&C Enterprises Incorporated, trading as Bob's Bar, 1171 through 73 Washington Boulevard. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Inspectors and licensee, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Are you Mr. Carr, sir?
Yes, sir, David Carr.
And would you want to admit or deny this violation?
Admit.
Okay. And would you like to explain what happened on June 13th?
I'm not real sure what happened. Miss Rose Perry has worked for me 11 years. She's 72 years old. And I was shooting pool with the pool teams in the back when the violation occurred. So I did come up and speak with the inspectors. They were very nice and courteous to me and explained to me what happened. And I apologize to the board for it. We don't do this. They're talked about it all the time. I showed the inspectors how I even have little cue cards on the bar to remind everybody to ID people you don't know, not even if they're 30 or 40 or 50. If they walk in the door and you don't know them, get their ID. Miss Rose has been with me 11 years. She's 72 years old. She'll be 73 in December, and she's gotten me 3 violations in 11 years. And I've been there 15 years, and my family's owned the bar since 1971. The end of this month, we'll have 46 years, you know, on that corner. And we have children and grandchildren, and we don't make a practice of serving underage people alcohol. And I apologize.
Okay. Commissioners, cooperative?
Very cooperative.
Any problems?
No problems.
The commissioners have questions?
So you said that there have been 3 violations in 11 years, and you seem to assign the responsibility to your employee.
It's been the same person.
All right, so has she had the alcohol training?
She's getting one. She hasn't had it yet. I keep her because she lives in the neighborhood. She's older, mature. She doesn't steal from me. She's responsible. She shows up all the time. And
We 70-year-olds are like that.
I don't know. She definitely wouldn't do that, you know, on purpose. I don't know how she loses it once in a while. I mean, I really don't.
Well, all right, so this is the first time she's had the alcohol training.
Yes.
Am I correct in understanding that? Okay, so there's one thing that you're doing different, and that's really a business owner's responsibility to do that.
Yes.
So I blame you.
And she now has to ID people that come in the door that she doesn't know whether they're 40 or 50 to see if they have their ID on them. Because that's a law also. You're not supposed to be out in public without ID on you. You should have ID on you.
You don't have to have ID to traverse the world, but if you're coming into an establishment and you're buying liquor and someone asks for your ID and you don't have it, well, there's the problem.
Right.
But is that a new policy that
That's
you've?
what we're starting, yes. We
Okay,
started
so
that
that's
over the
another
holiday weekend.
change.
Yes.
Another change that you've made as the owner.
Yes, ma'am.
To enhance the responsibility. So that's good. Those are 2 good things.
Anything further?
No.
Okay. Ms. Carr, on the basis of your testimony, your admission of the violation, the materials that the inspectors have submitted, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 13, 2017. You've also, like the last licensee, been 5 years since you were before us, and your sales are back in 2008, 2011. I would impose a similar fine of $1,500 and give you 30 days to pay it.
I agree.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Wright. Board Exhibit 3, photos.
Calling the next case, Daniel Lee and Shushma Sharma Kailash LLC, trading as Dew Liquors, 2610 Harford Road. This is a Class A beer wine liquor license, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadinsky, representing licensee.
May I ask everyone to raise their right hands, please?
Please swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Admission or denial?
This will be an admission.
Okay. You want it?
Way in explanation, the gentleman that did the service, and this right here has been admonished to make sure they check whether there have been a licensee was transferred back in 2013. They haven't had any problems. It's a small little store on Harford Road. The family pretty much runs the place. They understand, as they've been hearing the cases, that you've got to check everybody no matter what. In this case, and then like to think it's an isolated instance that would not happen again.
By the way, I meant to ask you, Daniel Lee showed up on my conflict sheet. Do I have a problem?
No.
Thank you. Commissioners have questions?
I guess it just, what will you do different to make sure that there are no more violations?
And they've just been checking everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Inspectors, anything? On the basis then of the materials contained in the in our booklet here, as well as the proffers from counsel, the admission, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 13, 2017. This is the first violation. I'd impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay it.
Oh, I agree. Pardon me. I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm on to the next case. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector Andy Perez. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Wright. Exhibit 3, photos.
Calling next case, Stephanie Merle and Sarbjit Singh, Bodwal LLC, trading as Lombard Liquor and Bar, 1000 West Lombard Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadinsky, representing the licensee.
Good afternoon. May I ask you, ma'am, and you gentlemen to raise your right hands, please?
Please swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Admission or?
This would be an admission. As the board would see, this license was transferred over to this current licensee in 2016. Made a vast improvement in the building, however, she didn't get tell the board ahead of time. You saw the pictures, everybody said it was great. Unfortunately, the gentleman who was working, the person working for her at the time, was not as vigilant as they could be. No longer works there anymore, so she made sure that wouldn't happen again on the case here. And then the new employees have been instructed at all times to check anybody that comes in for their proof of age, and if they don't have it, then they should not serve them on it.
Do you sell a lot of New Amsterdam peach vodka?
I think we do, yeah.
Is that Ms. Mural or?
No, my name's Sarbjit Singh. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we do.
Particularly to younger customers?
No, sir, absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No
The
question.
inspectors have anything? Did you have anything you wanted to add? Okay. All right, on the basis then of the materials that contained in the record, the proffer from counsel, the admission, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01A on June 13, 2017. This is the first sale to minor violation. I'd impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days.
I agree.
I concur.
Thank you.
Be careful.
Definitely. Will not see me again.
Twice in 1 year is enough, right?
Totally enough.
Totally, yeah.
12 exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Chief Inspector Mark Fosler. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Wright. Board Exhibit 3, photos.
Calling next case, Rakesh Patel, Rahi LLC, trading as Wine Underground, 4400 Evans Chapel Road. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of 4.01A, sales to minors.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. David F. Mister and Mr. Winter and Bartlett, LLC, representing the licensee today.
Good afternoon. Good to see you're still practicing law and on your feet. Can I ask them all to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Admission or denial?
Mr. Chairman, it'll be admission.
Okay. And the reason I tease counsel is we were classmates in law school, so I go back a long way.
I'm still a little bit younger than the chairman.
So what were the circumstances on May 1?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm informed that the licensee has had this license for approximately 9 years. It's the first violation they've ever had. They have an existing policy that prior to this violation that all patrons were to be carded. The clerk who made the sale that day was not the regular cashier, but knew what the policy was, had been informed of that and trained in that regard, violated it, and has been terminated. They have reiterated they only have a couple of cashiers and usually managers that work in the store. It's a relatively small store in a very nice area. They're very mindful of the fact that they're close to 3 major college campuses, being Notre Dame College, Loyola College, and Johns Hopkins University. But I think the proof would be in their conduct up till now that despite the closeness to those places and the number of people under 21 who may desire to purchase alcohol, this is the first time they've had a violation. They have reiterated to the staff that they need to card everybody, and that's the policy. And they've advised me that they're going to bring in someone who I recommend to them who will actually do in-house training with a certified alcohol awareness training program, probably the TIPS program, to train any and all cashiers who will work for them. Based upon their past record, I ask the board be lenient with regard to any imposition of any penalty.
And are you Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Okay. And was he cooperative, inspectors?
Mr. Chairman, he was cooperative. One small statement that I would like to make, though, is we noticed he does a heavy delivery in the nearby area, which council just said was heavily occupied by college students. When the two gentlemen came in, they have a held hand device that checks IDs when they're going out on these deliveries. Inspector Perez and the sheriff's office, we were there. They attempted to check my ID for several minutes and could not get the device to work. So I just suggest that perhaps they can notify the chief inspector. They said they were going to work on a different program, and if that's happened, if they can contact the chief inspector to, show him how things are being.
If you don't have Mr. Fosler's information, we can give it to you before you leave here today, okay?
We'd certainly be happy to cooperate in that regard. And the only thing I would point out to the board, unfortunately, from my substantial experience, the state of the art is still not that good with regard to any of these scanners. The quality of the counterfeit IDs is amazing, and most of those that actually can defeat just about any scanner.
I
We're
think I
hoping
still
for
have
better
your picture on
technology.
mine. No, I don't mean to make light of it. Okay, are there questions from the commissioners?
No questions, but the footnote regarding the deliveries and how those are made and the scanning, that does raise a lot of concerns. There are task forces in Baltimore County with Towson University, and it trickles over into the city with the 3 colleges and universities. And we hear about it if there are licensees that are frequent violators or perceived to be frequent violators with respect to the college students. So just be aware and beef up your verification of age.
Just as a matter of interest, do you often turn people away? I mean, if you're carding and you're using the scanner, what's the percentage
So
of?
if we think that the ID is not
if you think it's a fake ID or if you don't think it's that the kid looks younger, then we do not sell them. We send them back. We have right to not sell them if you don't want to. Even if someone is like say drinking and comes in for more alcohol, we also have done in that in the past. Not serve them.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Nothing further from the licensee.
All right, on the basis then of the material contained in the record, the proffers of counsel, the testimony we received, and the admission, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on May 1, 2017. This being the first violation, I'd impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to make the payment.
I concur.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being before the board.
Always a pleasure.
Mr.
You're recusing on that.
Can I call exhibits for the
I'll just stay here,
record?
though.
Yeah, it's
Board
fine.
Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Inspector John Chrisomales. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Wright. Board Exhibit 3, Photos.
Yes.
Call next case, Asma Ahmed and Masuma Hoke and Mary Uttenreiter. ABM Systems Incorporated, trading as Lido Pizza and Pasta, 3105 St. Paul Street, is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky representing the licensees.
Good afternoon. Met with the folks to your right and the inspectors. Raise your right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Should be an admission.
Okay, and what happened on May 1?
Basically, this is a pizza and pasta place. They do probably 10% alcohol. Most of their sales are food sales. In this particular case, a new person was there. They didn't check the cards. The policy now has been they check everybody's cards like we mentioned in the past. They've had no prior violations with regard to serving minors. They have a tax situation that we're trying to work on right now with the Comptroller's Office. That is the only other problem they seem to have had on there. But as a place, it's not a kind of place where young people would go to sit down and drink a lot. But in this case, they did serve a minor.
Okay, and by the way, I meant to indicate that Commissioner Moore is going to recuse herself because she frequents the place with some regularity. So Commissioner Greenfield and I will decide
Extra
the
cheese?
case.
As a matter of fact, yes.
Right? That's what it gives me all the time, extra cheese.
My
But
granddaughter.
You probably love the Flying Dog Raging Bitch bottles of beer as well, Mr. Kadensky.
Got six pack in the office.
Okay.
These are the things that, we look at the peach vodka, and then now we look at this one, and it's,
Cutting edge.
the sheriff's office keeps us on our toes, I guess.
Those guys, they never stop.
I don't have any questions.
Do you have anything, gentlemen? Anything further from you? Okay, on the basis then of the materials in the record, the admission, the proffers of counsel, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on May 1, 2017. And I would impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay it.
I agree.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report, Inspector Perez. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Wright. Exhibit 3, Photos. Thank you.
Calling next case, Gabriella Moon, Moon's Liquors Incorporated, trading as Moon's Greenmount Liquors, 2405 Greenmount Avenue. This is a Class A2 beer, wine, and liquor license, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Mr. Hurdle?
I'm trying to adjust sides here. I've been told that I'm on the wrong side, perhaps. Sorry. Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Ms. Moon and Moon's Liquors, trading as Moon's Greenmount Liquors at 2405 Greenmount Avenue.
Good afternoon. Ms. Moon, would you and the inspectors please raise your right hands? And the folks down there.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, is this an admission or a denial?
This is an admission. We do have mitigating circumstances in this situation.
We'd be interested in hearing them.
One of the different, well, first of all, my understanding is Ms. Moon and her family, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I have been a couple times today, unfortunately, have owned the establishment for nearly 10 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, 9.5 years.
And in that time, there have been no violations, at least that I can find.
We have no
anywhere.
violations.
And things have been a little different over there. They've had 4 attempted break-ins at the location since January. In one of those break-ins, Ms. Moon's husband lives in the building above the store. And during one of those break-ins, they actually were, I guess, successful in breaking in, and he was attacked pretty brutally. We have some police reports. I'm not sure we need to put them in the record. It's entirely up to the commissioners if that's what they would like. For 2 of the break-ins, and we do have some hospital bills as a result of one of them. So, again, we're not denying that a minor was served. Ms. Moon's husband was the person who, I guess, did the service. This was in May, which was, I think, a couple of weeks after one of these break-in/assaults. And he, for lack of a better term, kind of wasn't possibly, 100% in terms of making sure everyone was carded and making sure everyone was ID'd. Since then, there's been an extensive discussion between Ms. Moon and her husband, and things are back on track in terms of making sure that this won't happen again for 9.5 or more years, as long as they own it at least. There is not a transfer in this one, if that matters, going forward. But we would ask that the board be lenient given the kind of unusual circumstances that the client has faced. It doesn't necessarily make it any less of an underage service. It's certainly a unique situation that has led to this violation, we believe, given the 9.5 years of no violations in the past.
You keep saying 9.5 years. It's 9 years and 1 month.
I apologize. I'm not
Actually,
trying
I think Ms. Moon said
misrepresent my
9.5,
mistake.
Okay, somebody said even 10. It's 9 years and 1 month.
I'm sorry, yeah, it says that there was a transfer fee that was paid roughly November 2008, so that,
Oh,
correct, not quite 11 years, not quite 9 years, I'm sorry.
Okay. Do the inspectors have anything to add? Do the commissioners have questions?
From your location, there's there's a lot going on in that area. There's a rec center across the street. There's Mund Park, which is the playground, which is very, very active in the summer with kids. There's a lot of car dealerships around. The area is changing somewhat. There's new businesses that are coming in. And I just would like to hear from you what your plan is for making sure this doesn't happen again.
Oh, I always do. I always care about the neighborhood too. So, we not renovate, we're trying to keep the building clean, and out front of the store, we always keep people loitering away. We do. And we always check the video cameras around the store. If anybody doing something wrong, we chase them away or call the police. And
Well, why don't we just talk about the sales to minors? There's also a middle school, an elementary middle school, 1 block away. I just want to hear what your plans are.
I always tell my husband and myself, when I took the alcohol awareness program, they told me we have to check ID up to 99 years old. So I do. I always check the ID. And my husband. Yeah. That's what the instructor told me. Check ID up to 99 years old. So my husband did it too. But he said he doesn't know why he did that. He wasn't there, he said.
Why do you keep saying that your husband did this? Because our records say that you did it. That you were
No, my husband is.
Well, who is this?
That is me.
Okay.
You were there that day, correct?
Yeah, I was right next to him.
Who is this?
I don't know who this is. Oh, I think that is the person who bought the beer.
Okay, that was the person who purchased?
Yeah.
Because all of our records indicate that you were the one that did the sale. Who is this?
That's me.
Okay.
I don't know why they took my picture and.
So it sounds like, at least from the records that we've been given, that you were the one that handled the sale.
Oh, because I was right next to him.
Okay. So I guess we should hear from our inspectors as to what happened.
Commissioner, as far as who actually served them, the only one that can identify that is the cadet, because we go in after the fact. So the
Okay.
cadet would answer that question as far as.
Okay.
Cadet to testify.
Yeah, I think that would be important. Sure, absolutely.
I would object to his testimony and ask the cadet testify if that's the rule. that we-
Is the cadet present?
If that's possible.
She's been sworn?
No, I don't know her name either.
Okay.
Oh, I got her name. It's on the docket. This is Ms. Cox. Okay. Let me swear you in real quick. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so, Ms. Cox, were you at Moon's Green Mountain Liquors on May 1, 2017?
Yes.
And did you purchase a six-pack of Bud Light beer cans?
Yes.
From whom?
I don't recall who served me at this point.
Do you recall whether Ms. Moon and someone else were there?
I believe that there were 2 people there, but I can't recall who.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So you don't recall, I'm sorry, you don't recall, I'm sorry, one question. You don't recall, but yet you indicate that the server is this licensee in the sheriff's report. So is the sheriff's office wrong, or is the licensee wrong? And then on top of that, and I'm sorry my question is going on, but the inspectors here, they don't identify specifically. So there's some confusion in my mind. Can you please explain?
I don't understand what it is you want me to explain.
sorry.
I just,
Let me-
I
let
did,
me
I did
slow down.
the buy, and then after that, I have no parts in.
Who prepared the report, the sheriff's office report?
Isn't.
So I can speak on behalf of the sheriff's office, but here's the deputy that wrote the report. The violation was done on May the 1st, so there is a little bit of a recollection. That's why we write the reports. In the report, synopsis and a narrative states exactly what happened. That's why it's admitted into evidence. But because it was May the 1st, the cadet has difficulty recollecting. So
Wait, so when was the report itself was done?
May the 1st.
Then, if the report was done May the 1st and the incident, if I'm hearing you correctly, was May the 1st, why was there a recollection issue?
So the recollection on our part.
Yeah, I'm just trying, I'm missing something.
Because it's, so May, June, July, August, September, so 4 months, so we're the cadet is not recollecting.
I understand, Sergeant, that point. I guess what I'm trying to understand is, the report here that we have from the sheriff's office complaint is dated May the 4th at 6:45.
May the 4th, okay?
Okay?
Okay.
So that's not quite 3 days. The sheriff's office has indicated a specific person who claims that she did not serve. She was there, but she did not serve it. Our inspectors don't indicate a specific server. I want to know why there's confusion.
All right, I don't think there's any confusion. So when there's 2 people there, and it happens in the establishment that there's 2 people there, they claim to be husband and wife, or whatever the case may be, the person who actually made that, at the time, we asked the cadet, who served you? The cadet at the time stated to myself and to the deputies that this person served me, not specifically this person, but in this case, it will be her. She wasn't one that served. So as part of the procedure, what we do is we take a photo of her license, we take her information, and we write the report.
May I apologize? Who wrote the report?
I do, sir.
And you guys don't identify the specific
Hold on,
individual?
I don't know who that is. I haven't got your name, so we can't, I need to just get
I'm
your name.
Deputy Wright. I wrote the report, and I do.
Your first name, though, hold on.
Rory, R-O-R-Y.
I apologize, Deputy, I was asking the sergeant.
Okay, so go ahead.
Sergeant, do you write the report?
I did not write a report, but I approved the report.
Okay.
I'm the supervisor, so therefore, the report needs to go through my.
So you're in charge and responsible for this stuff?
Absolutely, I am.
And what you're telling us is that you don't think it's important to identify the exact individual who does the alleged sale?
No, I don't think you understood what I said.
did not.
Let me be very clear so that you understand where I'm coming from. Every time we do an operation, then we'll come in, we identify, we ask the cadet who's the one that sold to you. And then the cadet says, the person sold to me. Then we approach that person, we ask the person a driver's license or any type of identification. We take pictures of the identification for the evidence. And then we write a report in accordance to the information that we received.
So my confusion, Sergeant, is that my client's the only person who's testifying as to who sold the alcohol, and your cadet has no recollection, but yet the report says something entirely different, and
The report
you're not
doesn't.
sure that it's
All right.
accurate at all.
So there is no misunderstanding at all. If you read the report, if you have it, it's all discoverable. There is no misunderstanding. The
Who
report's
sold the alcohol, Sergeant? Were you in
according.
the room?
Pardon?
Were you in the room when the alcohol
All
was
right.
sold?
So
Yes or no, Sergeant, were you in the room when the alcohol was sold?
no, I wasn't.
You weren't. So
No.
you have no idea, you personally, who sold the alcohol? Correct.
But his
I don't understand the
information comes
question.
secondhand. Someone told him.
I'm asking him if he personally
He's already
saw
told
the
us that 6 times. He asked the cadet who did it.
And she
the
doesn't know.
And she cannot tell us today, so we're in a state of
So
ambiguity.
sometimes we send a deputy, so the deputy wants to testify.
Okay. Have you been sworn, Deputy?
Yes,
Okay.
I have. I actually wrote the report, and I was in the store with the cadet, Victoria.
Do you
when
remember who
she-
sold it?
I'm sorry,
Do you
sir?
recall who sold her the alcohol?
Yes, and it was Mrs. Moon.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't me.
Well, you have different testimony. That's all right. That happens all the time. We're used to that. Okay. Anything further?
Inspectors, do you have an idea of who it was? You weren't there, though, were you?
We're outside. When we're notified that the sale is made, we do list the person that serves on our report, but that's secondhand information from what the cadet has told the deputies.
So, here's the concern I have. All of the written information that we have says the server was Gabriella H. Moon, and the photographs are of Gabriella H. Moon. And the recollection from the deputy is that it was Gabriella H. Moon. And the cadet says today that she doesn't remember, but at the time it was Gabriella H. Moon. So the internal consistency is that the sale was done by Gabriella H. Moon. And the only inconsistency is your testimony, where you say it was your husband.
Right.
And he's not the licensee.
The
I'm
cadet's
sorry?
testimony is also an inconsistency as well.
No, it's not inconsistent, it's ambiguous, because she today says that she doesn't know, and she's claiming a recency issue, that it was so long ago, she doesn't today recall. But all of the paperwork that we have says it's you.
Commissioner, if I could.
Sure.
Except there is a little more ambiguity with this, because if I have read the inspector's reports on these kinds of cases, they will identify in their reports the server. In this case, they didn't.
I have.
You di-
Yeah.
I have identified Ms. Moon as the server with her date of birth, yes.
Could I ask the inspector just a couple of questions?
You can, although I'm going to cut this off soon because I don't even understand the relevance of it,
I
but go ahead.
don't disagree, but I just have a couple of questions, and I
Well,
think this might help.
I can, well, go ahead, and I'll tell you why it's important to me.
Excuse me, if I could, I'm sorry, it doesn't, you don't, it doesn't say, you say inform the licensee. Do you say, where does it say that it was served by this licensee?
You're absolutely correct. It doesn't say that it was served. We identified the licensee that was at the location and took her ID. In order for us, the only person that we identify typically is who the cadet tells us served her or him, in this case her. So that's why we identified Ms. Moon. So at some point, she communicated to us that she was the server.
I see.
Inspector Chrisomalis, when you went in, was Miss Moon and her husband presumably was there? Was there someone else there, to your recollection?
I don't recall.
Were they cooperative with you, Mr. Chrisomalis?
Wait a minute. I need to stop this. I don't understand it. We have an admission. The licensees accepted responsibility for the violation. I don't know where we're going.
I feel the need to defend my client. given
Against
the
what?
The inconsistencies and accusations of inconsistencies. She's being told that she's perjuring herself, and I don't think that's the case.
Well, we have to make credibility determinations all the time, so let's.
But I have to fight those and back my client up.
I understand, but I mean, I don't get the relevance of it, so let's move forward. Anything further?
I have nothing further.
Okay. Commissioners have any further questions? All right, on the basis of the material contained in the record, the admission, the testimony from the licensee, the proffers from counsel, I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on May 1, 2017. No prior violations, I'd impose a $500 fine and give her 30 days to pay it.
I'll defer to you.
Yeah, you know, I concur with the violation and the fine. I will say, though, candidly, if the sheriff's office wants to do more of these kinds of cases, your record's got to be a little more clear. And we're deciding now, Sergeant. But this troubles me because there seems to be some inconsistency, and we have an inspection that has inspectors that have a certain practice. So I'm a little bit troubled by that, but given the admission and given the testimony before us, I concur with the chairman.
I don't know if I can make a statement.
But we haven't finished. Commissioner Moore.
So I'm troubled by this one, but for a different reason. I think that the record is fairly clear that the person who did the transaction was Ms. Moon, and it just troubles me that there's a change or an effort to put the responsibility on someone else, and that bothers me tremendously. It does. My inclination was to obviously find the violation and impose the maximum that we could under new legislation, which would allow us to go as high as $1,000. And it's because of the change in the sense of responsibility. So that's my position. I find the violation, and I would impose a fine of $1,000.
Okay, so there's a 2-to-1 determination, $500 fine, 30 days to pay. Thank you.
Thank you. Will you be excused?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. To be in the hallway, okay?
I call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector John Chrisomalis. I'm sorry, Deputy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector Andy Perez. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report, Deputy Wright. Board Exhibit 3, photos.
Guys, so it's not acceptable that you're saying that they spoke with the guy. I'm never gonna go on again. Okay.
We have one more case, don't we? Yes.
One more.
Yeah.
Okay. Calling.
Ika Ekanem, surviving spouse, Woodbourne Lounge Incorporated, trading as York Club Tavern, 5407 York Road. There's a Class BD7 beer, wine, liquor license, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Are you Ms. Ekanem?
Yes, sir.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Inspectors?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
How do you pronounce your name, ma'am?
Ika.
Ika? Okay. So you're charged with selling Bud Light to a person underage on May 1, 2017. Do you agree with that or deny that?
I agree with it.
Okay. You want to tell us how it happened?
Your Honor, there is no story I can tell that is going to be okay.
Just tell us what happened.
Yes, it's when you leave your space a minute to whoever else is in there and they don't feel your pain, because I'm a mother. I've owned the place for 14 years now. It has never happened in my shift. But the minute you walk out of a space, no matter what instruction you give to them, they're not in your shoes. And that was a mistake. We could avoid it. It didn't make sense. So there is no excuse I can make but just to ask for mercy.
All right.
Widow with young children, I am very careful. Most of the things, I have never had any problem with any inspection because I make sure things are done right. But little simple things like that, I'm sorry, it happened. Yeah. And I pray that it never happen again because it doesn't make me feel good.
Thank you. The inspectors have anything to add? Was Ms. Ekanem cooperative?
She was very cooperative.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
I know you feel bad and you say it won't happen again, but it happened just a year or so ago.
Yes.
And now here we are.
Yes.
So what do you think you'll need to do? so that you don't come back a third time.
Yes,
You've-
I have really insisted this time because you send them to alcohol awareness classes and you think they learn. So I have really insisted this time. If you come to the establishment, there's so many reminders as if we are. I mean, I don't sell no tobacco products, but even the liquor, which could have been a higher age. Make sure anybody that comes through the door doesn't look grayish in age, ask for ID. So I have really insisted this time, and I'm making it like a daily preaching now. The first thing, if I'm in the store, cut. So it's like everybody's getting it down.
Okay, so at what age do you tell your employees to card persons purchasing liquor?
Your Honor, I have told them if they don't look grayish, I think from
If they don't look what?
gray hairs on their head, you should cut. If they don't look that old, you should.
Okay.
We get a whole lot of, mouth back and everything, but it's better to get the mouth done to make the mistake.
Because if, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You should go back and tell your employees that they have to follow it, because if you come back a third time, it may be that very harsh penalties could be imposed.
How many employees do you have, ma'am?
I have 2 of them.
You've had the same ones for a long time?
No, it's the last one that did it is completely gone. This one is one that has been there a while, and you think should know better, but
And you're a busy location. I mean, you're very busy. Every time I drive by there, which is, because I go to Staples all the time, so I'm by there all the time. There's always people out there. There's always people milling about. It's very active. You have a very brisk business, and meaning you're busy. And traffic gets congested, so you don't lack for customers.
no, it's not the customers, ma'am, but
It's your employees.
yes, and you know something else I'm gonna say. It's a difficult location, and yes, because
It's,
most
some would say it's difficult because of you.
of no, okay.
They would. They would. I'm just sharing that, so you know you've got to step up your game. You've got to step up your game of asking for those IDs. We've heard testimony earlier today where some licensees said, policy now is I'm carding everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. So that's, I mean, I think you probably sat here and you heard that. I'm just telling you that because if you come back a third time,
Yes.
not good.
I know.
Okay.
And I appreciate your understand. I'm sorry. You don't make sense.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. On the basis of the information contained in the record, on the basis of your testimony, Ms. Eckenham, on the basis of your admission of the violation, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on May 1, 2017. This being your second violation, I'd impose a $750 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you, Hannah.
I concur.
I agree.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Be careful.
I see you down here.
Mr. Chair?
I think they're exhibits.
Exhibits, yes. Plan to close exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector John Cristomalis. Board Exhibit 2, Sheriff's Department report,
Why
Deputy
are you
Wright.
here?
Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
I believe that concludes the docket.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I believe that concludes the docket. The
Oh.
board will be in recess until September 21st, 2017.
Thank you.
Does she have a matter before us?
There's no matter.
I'm sorry.
There's no other matters on the docket, Commissioner.
Oh, you're, huh? Oh, you have to ask him. She wants to speak to you. I think you should be in front of the camera. What's going on?
Thank you.
Get a half hour or so. The chair wants to.
Why she want to speak to Ann?